Let's get some lighting here. We are going to look at some Leo characteristics on this full moon for a practice of opening our hearts to find the courage to step into the world and create a pathway forward into a future that we have yet to live, one of equity, and look into our own discovery into self to lead the way. So get a prop or two blankets to sit on is a really nice idea, so that when you're sitting comfortably, you're not forcing the spine to sit upright. You're giving the position of the pelvis a tilt forward, so the spine is just upright. Should have had this set first, but I am in transition here. So as you sit comfortably, guide the breath through your body, through the lower ribs, the heart. Start to let the breath open up a communication between body and mind. Oops, this looks super fuzzy. Okay, trying out some new things here. So, feel your way. Just a second I step away from the computer, it goes dark. Stay with your breath. So maybe give us some more light. That's a little better. Okay. So let the breath help check into how you're feeling. We think already said this in a previous moon class. Right, the root of the word Luna means moon, and lunatic was a person describing a person that favored the moon and its cycle. And of course, now in modern culture, we would think of it as an unsavory term of craziness. But the moon is really a guiding light into our own darkness. And this full moon in Leo with the sun in Aquarius is really asking us to find the courage to look into our vulnerability, to lead in a way that will shift society, right? Aquarius is about societal norms and the familiarity of playing into them or aligning with them, whether that's something we're consciously aligned with or not. So it's a nice, powerful, fiery energy to look at our own liabilities, our own beliefs, our own patterns, our own cycles, as if, every moon doesn't ask us to do that, but looking to lead into a new direction, taking the societal foundations of how it is set up and how it works, and to challenge that. So finding the fiery Leo lion energy to shift culture, to shift society, to shift dominant culture. So draw the hands in front of your chest in prayer or palm over palm, what feels more organic to you in this moment to connect to the light. Letting the energy of the full moon shed light on what lower frequencies you vibrate in, so that we can raise them. Awareness is the first step. So low frequencies are judgment, resentment, anger, unworthiness, all the shadow. We'll look to the practice to see where we feel connected, to look into our dark corners of what makes us feel ashamed and afraid and angry. Those are all opportunities of understanding where we need to shift, where we need to maybe hold a conversation that is fearsome or that we don't really want to have, right? Those hard conversations are the necessary steps of change. We'll look at where we need to firm up boundaries or where we need to free up boundaries. Yoga reminds us that we're always looking for balance, where things have a steadiness in the balanced place. So that's where the breakthrough will happen, when we let the light in to the darkness. Let this information wash over you as you come back into the breath. Where you can open up the soft aspects of your being. You can soften your edges. Allow a bit of vulnerability to come through the contemplation. Showing yourself compassion. Which will give us strength and love. Using this information, set your own intention. Feeling your breath fill the heart. Feel the breath move into the back of the heart, the back ribs. Feel the light of your heart accessing more of your shadow, knowing that the shadow and knowing what the shadow is, the feeling of the shadow, the emotions of the shadow are to be known in order to experience the light. Feel your inhale, pull the intention out of your heart into your hands, and your exhale, release the hands. Take a big breath, reaching out and up. Exhale, twist to the right and let the hands drop front to back. Inhale, sit taller, roll the pelvis forward, open the shoulders, shoulder blades down the back. Inhale, unwrap, coming back to center, look up. Exhale, twist left. Rolling the hips forward, sitting nice and tall, wrapping the shoulder blades in and down the back. Inhale, come up to center. Exhale, release the hands to your knees and take the ribs in a big circle around the hips. You can feel a scoop under as the ribs go back, an arch as you come forward. Not hinging at the hip at all or bowing forward. Just letting the hips roll front, side, and back. The weight will shift to one sit bone, forward, other sit bone, and the back scoop. A couple more in this direction, just feeling the upper body and the lower body in that cross section of the ribs to the hips. And the circle motion, really stirring things up. Reverse your direction. Notice how the lower back feels. My lower back gets pretty tight. There's some stickiness there. Where do you feel things? What does that make you feel? Couple more. Did the sensation free up a bit? Were you able to make some change already? And then sit nice and tall. Inhale, open the heart, lift the gaze. Exhale, round. Couple more here, cow-cat sitting. Feel shoulder blades squeeze in and down as you lift the gaze, lift the heart. Exhale, feel the shoulder blades pull wide and down. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Inhale, come up to center. Take the right hand down. Swing the left arm overhead, but straight. Don't let the left arm just be like, flaccid here. Get it nice and strong, like an arrow from your hip point or your sit bone all the way through the side of the body. Heavy the right shoulder, bend the right elbow, and then feel your left side open up to the sky, look up. And then exhale, close it down. Inhale, open it up. And exhale, close it down. One more time. Inhale, come back over to the side, maybe bend in deeper. Inhale up to the other side. Left hand roots, bend the elbow, stretch the right arm straight. Big breath in. Hip to fingertips. Twist up to the sky. Breathe in. Exhale, round. Close it down. 2 more. Might feel nice to close your eyes here. I feel like this movement is again sawing through the bottom ribs to the hip. Inhale back over to the left. Exhale, bend into your elbow deeper. Inhale, come straight up to center, arms to T. Exhale, twist to the right. Big breath in. Exhale, twist deeper. Inhale up to center. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, sit tall in the twist. Exhale, twist deeper. Inhale, unwrap. We'll come to stand at the top of the mat. Just gonna peel my socks off here. When you get to the top of the mat, stomp your feet out a little bit. Like declare that you're here, you're ready, you're showing up. Connecting to the ground, the wisdom, the ancestry, the ways in which things have always been the same. Okay. And then step into your power. Without locking the knees, tone the quads and bring the thighs back over the heels. Hug the bottom ribs and sit tall through the heart, wrapping the shoulders back and down. And then inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, thighs pull back, ribs in, cactus the arms out, lifting the heart. And then exhale, cat the spine around, pushing forward. Inhale, cat, cactus arms lift. Exhale, cow, drop the gaze to the belly. Inhale, open it up, cow. And exhale, cat. One more. Inhale, arms go straight up overhead. Grab your right wrist, pick it up, and lean left. See if you can comfortably gaze underneath your armpit. Inhale, center, switch sides. And inhale, come up. Soften the knees, exhale to fold. Once the hands touch the ground or blocks, press the legs straight, bring the weight forward, hips on heels. And exhale, bend the elbows, hinging at the hip crease deeper, so not rounding the back. Feel like you're mostly in cow spine, maybe the hands walk forward. Push through the big toe ball mounds, lift through the arches, press the thighs back. Hug into the lower belly, bottom ribs. One more breath, hinging at the hip, deepening the fold. Inhale, flat back, hands up to the shins. And exhale, bow in again. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, step to downward dog. Pedal it out. Anchor through the palms. Keep the armpits lifting. Little press through both heels. Or one at a time, feeling that energy pumping through the backs of the legs. Strong root through the hands. And then let the heels go side to side, or midline, switching the hips side to side. Again, waist getting a nice stretch. Maybe outer hip through the armpit. And then back to center. From your hands, lift the armpits, anchoring into the heart. Hugging the bottom ribs in, send the tail up. Legs straight, heels back. Nice full breath. Then lift the heels high, bend the knees to a hover, look forward. If you feel like your hands are too far forward, you can bring them in. All right, arms are plugged into the back of the body, ribs are hugged into the spine. See if the knees can hover a little bit lower. Hips are over the knees. If you're not feeling this intense burn in the quads, sit your hips back an inch. Just getting the body nice and warm with this one movement, this one static hold here. Then lower the knees down. Bring the elbows down underneath your shoulders and then cross the forearms in front of each other. Take a big breath in, thighs are pressed back, ribs are hugged in, core is strong. And then inhale the right elbow to the sky and then the arms straight. Exhale, bend and release it down. Switch, elbow lifts, arm goes straight, elbow bends, comes back down. Keep going, this nice smooth movement. The arm that's on the ground is pushing the floor away. Belly is hugged in the whole time. Get nice and warm around the thoracic spine, around the heart center, especially the upper back tends to get weak and muscles are lengthened and weakened. So we're getting them toned and stronger so that we can then reflect upon the past without judgment, resentment, right? We don't go into those shadow emotions. We stay in a reflective place of the light. One more each side. This last one here. Yeah. Keeping the toes tucked under, belly strong, tent the fingertips forward, and then try to draw the chest and the chin down to the mat with the armpits lifting. Hands are on fingertips, pushing forward. Arm bones are pulling back into the sockets, shoulder blades down the back, ribs in, thighs pressing back. 3 more breaths. And then let the elbows drop down. Hips come forward into Sphinx pose. Wiggle the hips around, elbows under shoulders, palms forward. You can flatten the feet. If the lower back is aggravated, tuck the toes under, lift the knees, spin the heels out. So we take inward spiral of the thighs, then let the knees come down and the feet go wider than the hips. We're going to let the bottom ribs drop to the mat, claw the heart forward by pulling the elbows back and the shoulder blades back and down, and then feel the gaze start to shift. Chin into the throat, a little bit more forward, maybe up. Feel the elbows really hugging back for the heart center to be shining brightly forward. And then push into the hands, pull the rib cage back, shoulder blades go wide. We're going to lift the arms, take them a little bit wider. And then draw the arm bones up into the neck, squeeze your shoulder blades back, then down. Elbows might come in a little bit there. Anchor the hips and legs. Then feel the bottom corners of your shoulder blades pushing forward and piercing through the bottom ribs, opening up the heart. If you feel your hands want to move into a better place, do that. Maybe sway, wiggle. 3 more breaths. Arm bones heavy down into the sockets. Bottom corners of your shoulder blades pushing forward through the heart. And then lower all the way down. Bring the hands back. A little bit more underneath you. Lift the arm bones. On your exhale, push up to tabletop. With flat feet this time, try to get the whole shin and the top of the foot down into the mat. Inhale, take the right arm out and up. Exhale, bend your left elbow to hover and twist underneath, and then inhale back up. Exhale, twist, hover. Inhale up. Exhale, twist, hover. 2 more. And release your right hand right into the other side. Inhale up. Exhale, twist. Bend your right elbow to hover low. Inhale, twist it up. Exhale, hover. 3 more. Last twist underneath. Inhale and release the hand. Crawl forward, tuck the toes, lift up and back, downward dog. From your hands, lift your armpits, heavy the head. From your heart, get longer. Draw the bottom ribs and lift the tail, release the heels back. One more breath. Lift the heels, soften the knees, step the right foot between the hands, left knee to the floor, both hands up to the right thigh. Feel your heel and knee hug together so you're holding yourself up and your hips are squared to the foundation. They're not like if you collapsed and just got into your end point, your hips are probably a little to the right of your left knee. When you feel your heel and knee squeeze together, it brought your hips straight underneath you. Anchor the arms into the thigh, lift the arm bones, draw the shoulder blades back and down, pull the bottom ribs in to lift up off the hips, leaning back. And then we'll draw the left arm forward and up. Take the arm bone down into the socket, shoulder blade back, release your hand behind the neck, press into it. So you're pressing into your right knee, pressing your head into your left arm, then slowly pull yourself over to the right. You can bring your forearm to the thigh, or maybe your fingertips grace the floor, or a block. Left arm leads you up to center. And exhale, step it back. Downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Lift the heels, soften the knees, left foot between the hands, right knee comes down, both hands up to the left thigh. Just take a moment and feel the foundation of your feet or your foot and knee. Squeeze them together, pressing into the thighs, ribs pull back, arms lift, shoulder blades take them back, then down, opening the rib cage, opening the heart, right arm reaches forward and up. Once it's up, pull it down, shoulder blade back, release the hand behind the head, press into it. Start to lean to the left. Right arm lifts you back up to center. Then exhale, step it back. Downward facing dog. One more nice full breath. And then inhale forward to plank. Hollow out the lower belly, scoop the tail. Push the floor away, feel your forearms hug together. Lower the knees. Keep the shoulder blades squeezing in to lower the hips. Then the chest, notice when the chest lowers, the arm bone does not lower. And then untuck the toes, draw the arms forward. Wiggle the hips a little bit. Give a little tiny scoop of the tail so you feel the belly really tone, and then inhale, lift everything up. Exhale, cactus the elbows to the waist. Inhale, forward. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, forward. Exhale, cactus. Keep going. Two more. Release the feet, hands under the forehead, wiggle the hips. And then bring the hands alongside the hips, squeeze the shoulder blades in. Inhale, lift. Then your hands are stretching towards your feet. Shoulder blades are hugging in and down the back. Try to lift the thighs and lift the heart. Easing somewhere that's good for your neck. Stay with it. And then release the feet, hands come in. Inhale, cobra pose. And exhale, child's pose. Take the big toes to touch. Walk the knees wide. Let the ribs come deep inside the thighs, crawling the hands forward. It's nice to sway a little bit. Let the forehead start to relax toward the floor. Then take some deep breaths here with your forehead on the mat, or if it doesn't touch, you can bring your hands underneath or a block, but feel that your forehead can connect to something. So there's pressure in your third eye. Let the hips get really heavy. Feel the lower belly pull up and in, away from the thighs, creating a little bit of rounding into the back body, a little bit of space into the back body as a reflection of bringing some more contemplative consciousness into the past. Take the mind's eye to where you feel your stretch. Where is it along the spine? Can you take the breath there and meet it? Ask yourself some questions. Is there a message in that space? Is the body presenting some wisdom for you? Is it a site of an old injury? Is it an area where you feel emotion consistently? Is it where fear resides? Is it where shame lives? The judgment? Hate? Breakthroughs happen when you let the light in. Bring the light to the sensation. Let the breath pull it there. Take the light of your heart to meet it. The heart vibration is the highest vibration in our body. So feel it reverberate through your whole body. Shine the light into those dark corners. We'll take 3 more breaths. Let the hands slide back very slowly, push the floor away. So come next to a wall if you have wall space. If you don't have wall space, we're just going to take another little quad stretch, but with a scoop under. So we're really pulling the attachment points of the hip flexors away from each other. But if you have a wall, and I still use a blanket against the wall because it's uncomfortable for the top of my foot on the wall, we're going to come to King Arthur lunge, just kind of like Anjaneyasana against the wall. So pad the ground, bring one knee against the wall and the foot up against the wall. So I have the blanket underneath my entire shin. And then step the other foot forward. And first we're gonna lunge away from the wall. So my knee is on the ground, my shin is on the wall, my toes are pointed straight up. Opposite foot is hip width apart and just coming forward. Like Anjaneyasana like we had. Breathe. Heel and knee are hugging to each other still. And then we'll bring the hands up to the leg. We're still forward of the wall. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. All right, now we're going to push into the front foot and bring the hips to the wall. My blanket out of the way. Or closer to the wall. My front foot's too far away, I slid it back. Notice the hips. My right hip is higher than my left. I'm going to try and square them and scoop the tail. So I'm pulling the hip points up away from the ground and then even bringing my shoulder blades against the wall. It's intense. Be where you can be comfortable in your breath. Breathe into the sensation you have in the front of the thigh. I'm even rubbing it. Physically telling it to soften. Physically telling my body that I'm here for it. I'm paying attention. Here to nurture and receive. Notice if the ribs are really flaring away from the wall, could they pull in as well? And then cherry on top here is to draw the left arm up against the wall as well. Five more breaths. So opening the front of the hips is a foundational aspect to an open back bend. It's important. It's also a key part of the equation to lower back pain, so there's benefit to that as well. Back pain can be unexpressed anger and resentment, so also a benefit here. Very slowly, we're gonna let the left arm come down, let the hips come away from the wall. Just take a moment and feel a little release of all that pressure and the stretch. And then bring the other leg up. It's a little challenging with the blanket. All right, switch this a little bit. So opposite foot, knee at the wall. Just got a cramp in the arch of my foot doing that. Start with lunging away from the wall first. Hands on the ground. Knee and foot are hip width apart. Hugging knee and heel together. Breathe. Take your time with it. Feel the ground, the support of the earth, the breath. Check in on your jaw. Leo wants us to look at all of our parts, all of our emotions, all of the characteristics we have, all of our conditioned responses. They're all of our emotions, always a gateway of understanding. And that wisdom is how to address our human life, our interactions, where we need to tighten things up, where we need to loosen things, what conversations we need to have. All right, let's bring the hands up to the thigh. Stay away from the wall first. Relax the shoulders down. My upper thighs are hugged in. We're still squeezing to the midline. All right, bring the hips back. Maybe you have to slide the front foot back. Notice if the left hip is a lot higher, try to square the hips to each other. Maybe the shoulders can come back. Breathe. It might feel really nice to let the right hand do a little massage of sorts or just hold. Touch is a very nurturing, very ancient way of tending to our needs, to nurturing ourselves, to letting the body, the higher self, know that you're there. Listening, receiving. And maybe the right arm goes up. Let's close our eyes here for a moment. Feel grounded, strong, really scooping the tail, belly toned, ribs hugged in. And then slowly, right hand comes down, hips come away from the wall, hands to the floor, pause, receive. All right. So we're going to come into camel pose, which is pretty intense. And we're going to do it like a couple feet away from the wall. I'm going to fold my blanket to pad my knees. I'm actually going to take my mat also along the wall here. All right, so grab a block and bring it in between the shins, in between the feet when we have our shins flat. So I'm going to face away from the wall because we're going to try and back bend to the wall. Just as an opportunity, an option. This feels like it's too close. Okay, so the ankles are squeezing the block. Feet are pressing down into the ground. Shins anchored. So resist the urge to have the hands on the hips and push the hips forward. Right? We want to have this anterior tilt where the hip points here are rolling a little bit forward. Thighs are pressing back, heels are squeezing the block. And we maintain our lumbar curve. From here, we're just going to bring hands to the heart center. Draw the arm bones up, squeeze the shoulder blades back, then down. Let the chin come into the throat and look down the hands. With the thighs back and the legs firm into the ground and hugging the block to the midline, hug the ribs in to lift up, gently leaning back. My hips aren't moving. Using the upper back. Keeping the lumbar curve. Let the gaze shift straight up. Feel the bottom corners of your shoulder blades piercing forward through the heart. Stay with it. And then let your chin come in. The heart pull you up. Have a seat on the block. Drop the palms in your lap. Thumbs together. Soften the gaze down or inward. Take 3 breaths. Come to stand on the shins. Start with setting the foundation. Shins are pressing down. Squeeze the block. Hands to the heart. Arm bones lift. Shoulder blades pull the arms back, then down. Hug the ribs in to lift them up. And then lift the palms, look toward the wall, go towards it. Push into the wall, but keep your thighs pressing back toward the wall as well. And then lift from the heart and let the arms dangle. Sit on the heels, take the opposite palm on top, and just take 3 breaths. We're going to do that same thing again and maybe get our forearms to the wall. So it's not about getting lower to the wall. We're too close to the wall. It's just not what the intention was. Just trying to bring our upper back closer to the wall with our foundation staying as it is. So press into the shins, squeeze the block, thighs press back, neutral pelvic alignment, lower back has its natural curve. Hands at the heart, hold the belly, lift the arms up, squeeze the shoulder blades back and down. With the ribs lifting up, let the gaze start to go up, the hands go up, come to the wall. And then maybe the forearms come. Feel like you're pressing into the ground, squeezing the block, pressing the forearms to the wall, letting the head drop back. And hands to the wall. And have a seat. Releasing. Breathing. Letting go of any shadow to how that felt or how you feel about it. Just receive the opening, the strength of the back of your body as the foundation of opening the front of the body. Knowing where you've been to feel all of who you are so that we can use that information to go forward in a new direction. Challenge the dominant culture. I've been referencing this series I'm obsessed with right now, Outlander, which has time travel back into the 18th century, which is one of the reasons why I love it, but it's very interesting to see how much has changed in society since then, and then the underlying foundational systems that have not changed at all. So, and if you go back hundreds of years from then, it's still the same. So how can we rise up, raise our own frequencies, raise our own consciousness, and have the courage, right? We're using this Leo energy to find the courage to shake up and disrupt these systems that have been corrupting nominal populations for centuries. Like, I've had enough in my 40-something years, and there's always been a population of people that have had enough of that, but our numbers are too small. So we need to rise up and come together and look into a new direction, something that has not existed before, and fight for that. With that in mind, let's do a little lion's breath. And I'm not privy to feeling strange and insecure and vulnerable, and lion's breath is one of those examples, right? It's not comfortable because it's not so familiar. It's not an easy thing to do, right? But we're gonna have our hands on the legs and find just a couple little movements of cow and cat. So with lion's breath, when we come into a cow spine with everything really open, lean forward into the hands. Stick your tongue out and roar as loud as you can. And it's, my voice has been silenced a lot of my decades for many reasons. And so it's not going to be a very good example of this really strong lion's breath, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I really encourage you to do it with me. If anything, it's just helping us feel that inner fire and that drive and that will that we need. So with your hands on the thighs, take an inhale, lift your heart energy, look up. Exhale, find your cats. One more. Okay. Take a big breath in, come up onto your hands, and then exhale. Ha! Take a big breath in, and exhale, stick out your tongue. Ha! One more time. Ha! Let that roar out. Take a nice sit on the heels. Cooling, calm breath as you let your energy drop into the ground. Feel the rise of your crown. Bring the hands over the heart. Feel the beat of your heart, the rhythm of your breath. Let the rhythm of your breath pulse the light of your heart. So the inhale will magnify it and broaden it and expand it outward. And the exhale will pull it back in and contract it. But feel this rhythm of your breath expanding your heart's light and radiance. If you want to make it green, you can do that. The heart energy is green. Feel each round of your breath is letting that expansion go further and further away in all directions, so that your heart can be a beacon, can be a guiding light to others. You can lead by example and call others to the cause. And then in the center of your heart, in that light, put an orb and an image of that future we can create, of one that we've never seen before, of one where all are supported with the foundational aspects of survival, partnerships, of allowing people to be who they are, so that everybody's gifts are felt and received and honored and supported. What does that look like? What does it feel like to live in that place? And then let your hands release it and give it away. So keeping in our courageous theme, I'm going to give you two options. You can plant the hands and bring your toes against the wall. From tabletop, put the hands a little bit forward and then come up to down dog and then into our L shape at the wall, and just stay with lifting the thighs up to the sky, hugging the ribs in and pressing the floor the floor and the wall away. So that it takes a lot of courage to hold yourself up there. It takes a lot of strength. If you want to play with some scissor handstand hops, like me, this is one of my favorite things because it helps me feel like my child self having fun at the beach with family and all my cousins when I was a little kid. So what we'll do is little scissor kicks, 10 on each side. You're going to step into one foot, Lift the arm bones, take the shoulder blades back and down, flip the palms forward, and then draw the arms to shoulder height, palms down, and then flex. So you're gonna just keep your arms like that, and then as you bend into the front leg, back leg's gonna kick up with strength and pointed toes, and then you'll land with the feet opposite. And we'll do 10 on each side. So whenever you're ready, just kick, switch, come on down, kick, switch. Right? Keep the legs really active, belly strong. And don't think about getting to handstand, just think of kick, switch. And maybe you find the hover. Make sure you breathe. Strong legs. Squeeze the midline. Really wasn't counting. I feel I'm getting a little tired. One more. All right. So start to cool it down. Have a seat. Switch this again. With legs extended straight forward. I'll take Janu Shirshasana with, I think this will be mirrored. I'll call this my right leg. Toes pointed. Feel like your knee is opening further back. So hips are not squaring the straight leg. The torso is open to the V of the pelvis of the thighs. Lean to your bent leg and take an inward spiral of the straight leg, and then do that on the bent leg. Whew. Take a moment, feel your breath settle in, and then strengthen the legs. Bent knee is going to be pointed foot, outer heel lifting. Straight leg is inner thigh anchored, flexed foot. We're going to take a crawl around, frame up, twisting toward the straight leg, and then get long in the torso. So arms lift up, shoulder blades squeeze back, then down. Taking the right hand to the left leg. Left hand's gonna walk back. Feel your arms are helping you twist. So right ribs are coming forward, left ribs are pulling back. Rib cage is squaring the hips. Neck is long, chin is in. And then maybe we hinge in deeper. Find your breath. Keep active in the legs. Feel like your heart center is aligning to your inner thigh. And you're getting the right side of your lower back stretching and the front leg hamstring. Equally, if you can feel that. Maybe you sway a little bit side to side. Feel where you can get that balanced stretch. And inhale, come on up. We're just going to help the knee bend by taking your hand inside the knee and using your arm to bend the knee. And then grab your ankle and stack your ankle in front. And then you can again readjust the thighs, feel inward spiral. Pointing the toes, heels are lifting. Either grab the knees or crawl forward and just find a little bow. Feel like the arms are lifting the sides of the waist. Shoulder blades are squeezing them into the socket, then down. Ribs and chin pull in to lengthen tail to crown. Maybe the elbows come down and the head can relax for a little bit. But feel like the heart is still pulling forward of the hips, not dropping down. Inhale, rise up. We'll kick the right leg out, keeping the left leg in. Lean forward, prop up the hips. Feel like your left foot is pointed, outer heel is lifting. Right leg is flexed, thighs are rotated in so you have that support for the spine. Twist to frame the straight leg, and then get long in the sides of the body, plug the arms back, pull them down. Left hand to the right leg, helping to guide the ribs into the twist. Sitting nice and tall. Heart aligning to the inner thigh. Right leg is, still really grounded. Left toes are pointed. Left leg is still strong. Maybe you lean a little bit. Where is your best stretch? For the lower left side of the spine, the right hamstring. Inhale, slowly rise up. We're going to take the right hand inside the leg to bend the knee. Bring that ankle in front. Stack the heels right at the midline. Can help the thighs again. Legs are still strong. Let the hands pull you forward, or hold the knees, or come back behind you even. This side's a little bit less secure than my other side. So to sit tall feels really nice, to bring my arms alongside the hips. And again, they're still drawn back out of the chest. Heart space is nice and open. Or maybe they come forward. Maybe the elbows come down, but don't collapse the heart and round. Even with the forearms down, feel like shoulder blades are pulling back and down, piercing the front of the heart. And with that foundation, you can let the head relax without the ribs collapsing. And then inhale, come on up. One more stretch here. We'll take both legs out into Upavishta Konasana. Right. Prop up the hips if you need. You can lift the hips and the thighs back and the pubic bone down. Then flex the legs. Flex the feet and tone the quads. Again, hands can be back, just helping to sit really tall. Or they can come forward. Or on blocks. I'm going to root my palms down and feel my palms pull toward my mat to keep my heart reaching forward. Apologies, this lighting is just not great again. But the flexion of my feet even has a little oppositional movement. I'm pulling my heels down and back towards my hips and pushing my big toe ball mounds forward, away. That's keeping energy flowing in the back of my knee and not letting the back of my knee press into the mat, because I have some old habits of long-term hyperextension. I have to reverse that now. That's a interesting little piece of information that made me think of, like, that's something simple that I gained on my mat of physical movement and behavior over time that has been detrimental. But if we put that out into the world, like, what behavior that you've been doing over time has been detrimental to yourself, to others? Is it those same shadow emotions that we were connecting with earlier? What makes you feel ashamed? Do you have harsh snap judgments of people that are different from you or have different beliefs than you? And I'm like, why? Why is that something that we do? And then if we're aware of it now, do we go right into feeling shame about it? We can be aware. We don't have to be shamed about it. We can change the behavior. We can bring light to it, have compassion. In Buddhism, there's this concept called Maitri, which is a practice of seeing everything about yourself and loving it. Seeing every aspect of who you are and loving it, because it's you. It doesn't have to still remain, right? If it's something that has to shift or needs to shift or you want to shift, bring the light to it, and that's what's going to transform it. Gently, slowly lift yourself up. We'll take both hands now. Let the arms do the work. Lean back. Just let your arms pull the knees to a bend. Feet to the floor wide, hands behind you, windshield wiper very slowly. Very slowly. Let the hip lift for the knee to go down. or as big of a movement as feels good in the hips. We're going to take a nice restorative back bend. And we'll finish with probably legs up the wall unless you prefer to do something differently. But we're going to take supported fish pose. So on 2 blocks. I know that I like my block under the heart in the middle setting, and then the block under the head can be the same height or higher. I'm going to go the same height today. It's going to be more of a back bend. But the second one can be higher for less. So your neck might feel more comfortable. So set up your props. If you want less of a back bend, it's going to be flat, lowest setting under the shoulder blades, back of the heart. And then either one step up or flat again. So that they're either the same height, the 2 blocks, or one step up under the head. Okay. And then sit with legs bent, come down to your elbows, and then you're going to have to just adjust. You want the entire edge of the shoulder blade, bottom corner to top corner, resting flat on the block, and then let the head drop to that second block. I need to pull that one further away, and then you can wiggle side to side and really feel the shoulder blades squeeze in. Maybe you lift the hips to get the shoulder blades flat, and then feel the pubic bone drop down. So don't scoop your tail as the sit bones drop. And then let the legs go long on the mat. Take a few moments to make any adjustments. Feel like the chin is tucked into the throat to let the head drop back. And let's see if your forearm can lay flat on the ground, or just let the arms be somewhere comfortable so that you can let the arm bone get heavy, away from the heart center, away from the chest. Feel the heaviness of your legs, the heaviness of your hips, and then a lightness come through the belly, and an opening of the bottom ribs, and then the opening around the heart and the throat, and even around the forehead. We'll be here like 5 minutes, maybe a little less. See if you can soften with each round of breath. Get heavy into the ground and the blocks. Letting the mind's eye open up and even travel again into the back body. Taking the breath into the back body, opening up the conversation of where you've been, what kinds of experiences were struggles, challenges, traumatic, what experiences were, brought you grief. How did you grieve? Grief is a hard one. It's, the sadness that just lingers, never really goes away. But what I've learned in the more recent years of my yoga practice is that those really dark grievances get lighter over time, but even when they don't go away, they don't have to block joy. Joy can still exist. At the same time, your grief does not have to block the light at all. We need to feel all of the pain and the suffering and the challenges and the sorrows to know and experience the light. They have to exist together. One cannot exist without the other, but one doesn't have to overshadow the other. The same is true for always being in like a desired state of elation. That's not normal. That's not balanced. It's not going to be a true expression if that's all you're experiencing all the time. Underneath that is still an unfulfilled place of out of balance. Can't bypass it. It won't be true joy. Leo reminds us of stepping into our vulnerability to gain strength. Sitting in the sorrow, in the darkness, to find the light. Take 5 more breaths. Feel like your inhale can expand the light in all directions. And your exhale can heavy yourself and release even more of your weight. Give a little tone to your core. Bring the feet to the mat. Bring your elbows in close to the bottom ribs, and then slide your dominant hand behind your hips on the ground. Let your chin pull into your throat, lifting your head, and then push into your dominant hand to come up. Get the blocks out of the way. Lay on the back and just receive the earth, the ground in a neutral spine. You can walk the feet wide and even let the knees knock in a bit. Just notice neutral spine. How you feel here and now. And then bring your feet together. Pick up your hips, take them a few inches to the right, stretch the left leg long, and then draw the right leg over to the left. I'm going to grab this block right here and let my shin rest on the block, and then stretch the right arm back behind you. It can be near the hip, it can be straight out to the side. I have my wall here, I can push into the wall. I'm going to let my arm go a little bit overhead. But keep a little tone in the legs. So my left pinky is rooting into the mat. My upper thighs are hugged in, arching my lower back, and then letting the right side twist back toward the floor. If you're holding your knee with your arm, don't stress out the left shoulder. Like, let the left shoulder be heavy. So if your left arm can just relax, that might feel nicer. Pick up your head, look to the right. 2 more breaths. Tone around the core. Right foot comes to the mat, left foot meets it. Pick up the hips, take them off center to the left. Take the block over to the right, right leg straight, left shin to the block. Left arm twisting back behind you. Pick up your head, look to the left. Little tone in the legs. My right pinky's on the mat, pushing down. Upper thighs hugging in a little bit, arching the lower back. And then maybe the left arm can go a little further away. As we bring out the spine and the twist, think about the central line of your body, twisting like wringing out water from a towel. And then let that represent like what in our lives can we wring out and release? Like maybe that was given to us, like a belief system. Maybe it's a rigid belief taken from a verse of the Bible that says marriage should be through a man and a woman. Like, do you actually believe that to be true, and why? Why can't marriage be between two people who love each other? What's the harm in that? Challenge your beliefs. Who gave them to you? Where'd they come from? Bring it out. And then let your left foot come around your right. Bring your hips to center. Let the arms come down. Receive neutral spine. Receive the support of the earth beneath you. Then hug the knees in. Give your lower back some love. Twist, massage the ground. Massage your back on the ground. Give yourself a little time to explore what you need. And then we'll end with legs up the wall. You can do it with the hips up against the wall or further away if you have really tight hamstrings. My eyes just got super itchy. You can do it with a prop underneath the sacrum so that you're continuing gravity's pull down into the heart as opposed to laying flat on the ground. If you give the hips a little lift, it helps that energy flow. Just patting the ground here. If your hamstrings are super tight, then don't go all the way up against the wall. It's a little chilly in my room now, so just going to get a blanket to cover me. Right, so get up onto your prop. Come on down. Wiggle the shoulder blades in and underneath you. I have a block under my sacrum, and I have my pelvis tilted forward so that my sacrum is flat on the block, not scooped under. Feel a little inward spiral before you let the legs relax. Any arm position that feels open in the chest. And then just soften and soften. Let go. Let gravity pull the fluid out of your feet. Helping the reverse flow of blood through the veins to the heart. Letting gravity help that venous flow. It doesn't reverse any flow. It helps that venous flow, which is pumping upward all day against gravity. So now gravity is just helping it flush down into the heart. It's helping the lymph pool into the pelvis. Feel a sense of ease out of the legs, from the pelvis down into the heart, into the throat. Feel a heaviness at the back of the head, the back of the heart. Soften the muscles around your face and your jaw. Just receive the practice. Maybe some answers were given. Maybe you can open up and receive some here in this shape now. Maybe nothing surfaced, and that's okay too. The intention is enough. Feel a heaviness drop into the mat. Allow yourself to be held. Bringing your awareness back to the ground beneath you and a deeper breath flowing through you. Wiggling your fingers and toes. Let an inhale stretch your arms overhead and even flex the feet, arching the back, bending the knees, bringing the feet to the wall. Rock a little side to side. You can widen the knees and bring them in. And then push up off the wall to lift your hips off the block and come down, rolling to one side. Just pause on your side for a moment. Gently finding your way back to a comfortable seat. Using a prop to feel comfortable. Help yourself out. Cross legs isn't working, sit on the shins, grab a block. Feel your way into comfort, inner thighs rooting, neutral spine, lifted heart. Take the hands to prayer, Anjali Mudra. Lift the arms, take the shoulder blades back and down. Take a moment, receiving the gifts of your practice, the gifts of self-inquiry and contemplating where we've been, who we are, where we want to go. Notice the changes in your body, your breath, and your energy. Are there changes in any emotion? Picking up these changes solidifies the understanding of the power you have to create them. Know you are an agent of change. There's no growth in the comfort zone, and there's no comfort in the growth zone. But feel all of it as an opportunity to be wise. Use that wisdom to move forward. And take the courage of the lion. Be a leader in a new direction. The sun in Aquarius is this power to shift dominant culture. So be courageous. And let your voice roar. The light in me sees yours, reflects it, and honors it. To that, to you, I bow. Namaste. Thank you.